This is Psalms chapter 64, verse 5 and 6. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Verse 6. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glories to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the elders and Akim pushing this truth and sincerity. And to the elect who are receiving this truth, I say grace be unto you. I'm the brother Kahan from the GMS Dallas camp, coming to you with a quick hit lesson. I hope it's edifying to the flock. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the article. And I'm kind of getting into this this whole thing of how, Esau basically allows you the freedom to indulge or actually overindulge in your lusts, right? So this is a quick article here that I wanted to get into. Salaki. Real quick while it's pulling up. Okay. It says Dallas police now prohibited from arresting for possession of 4 ounces or less of marijuana odor no longer probable cause for searches, right? So let me get into this quick article. It says Dallas Police Department officers are now under the new guidelines regarding marijuana possession enforcement, right? So it says in November, Dallas voters overwhelmingly approved Proposition R, and we're going to get into that Proposition R a little later. It says which decriminalizes the possession of up to 4 ounces of marijuana. Now, Dallas officers are no longer allowed to make arrests or issue citations for marijuana possession up to 4 ounces, according to police memo that was sent to the Marijuana Herald. The memo was issued by interim police chief Michael Igo. So now you see so-called white man Esau is allowing Jake to use marijuana and of up to 4 ounces. So the article states. So now he's not gonna criminalize you, now. Whereas before he used marijuana to decriminalize so-called Jakes, right? So let me get into this quick scripture real quick. All right, this is I'm going to get Micah chapter 2, verse 1 and 2 real quick. All right, Micah 2, verse 1 and 2. All right. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands, right? So again, best believe that this is a scheme. This is a scheme that was not a result of this Proposition R, in which, a lot of voters basically came together and pushed forth some legislation so that, marijuana can be, legalized in a sense. Best believe that your enemy Esau was behind this, right? So, Esau is always behind these schemes, to allow Jake to seem as if he's getting some sense of freedom, some sense of, control or power. In actuality, it's a snare, it's a trap, right? And like we said, the wicked, they use their schemes and their traps as a means to maintain control and power. So I remember watching the movie Braveheart. The King Longshanks, He always says, you must find the good in any situation. And that's what the wicked and ruthless rulers do. They use it as a tool to weaponize it against Jake, right? So again, Micah 2, verse 1 and 2 says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in their power of their hands," right? "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage," right? So again, Esau uses this to his advantage because he understands that power must be preserved at all costs. You know, and as you come into this truth, it allows you to see your enemy's moves. See your enemy's snares, towards you. You know, uh, because that's a part of having that being wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. You know, so this truth, even though Esau, uses all these tools, for his advantage, we in this truth understand that Yahweh Bashim Yashai is ultimately the one in control. That's the bottom line. So let me go back to this proposition R. This is what kind of got everything rolling in a sense. Salaki to me. Trying to navigate this thing here. Salaki. Bear with me. Okay, so let me get into this proposition R real quick. Okay, and this is for fair use information. I'm not using this for any type of profit or gain, only for the purposes of information. All right, and I think it's gonna load real quick. While it's loading, I'm going to read a little bit of it. It says, "Is marijuana legal in Dallas now? That voters have passed Proposition R." It says no, but enforcement is set to change. Right? It says voters approve the so-called Dallas Freedom Act. And that's what Esau uses. He uses, this new new speak, to hide his agenda. Right? It's seen now as a sense of freedom to overindulge in your lusts. Right? So it says, "Is marijuana legal in Dallas now? That voters have passed Proposition R? No, but enforcement is set to change." So let's just see what this article says real quick. Again, it takes a while to load. Salaki. All right. So again, while it's loading, I'll read a little bit of the article. It says Dallas voters don't have the ability to unilaterally change state law on marijuana, but they may have changed enforcement in Dallas by passing a resolution Tuesday to effectively decriminalize possession of up to 4 ounces of weed. Right. So you're not necessarily changing the law. You're just changing how people behave towards the law, or rather the decriminalization of the law. Right? It says Proposition R, also known as the Dallas Freedom Act, passed with 66% of the vote and is set to be enshrined in the city's charter unless legal challenges stop it. More on that later. Right? Okay. Hopefully it's loading. It's still not loading. Yeah, it's a locky on that. It says the measure does not make weed legal in Dallas, but it does prevent Dallas police from making arrests or ensuing citations against people who have up to 4 ounces of marijuana. Right? It said, but there are some caveats. There's some conditions. It says the charter amendment has not yet taken effect and may face a legal challenge from Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who sued to stop a similar measure in Denton and other Texas cities. Right? Opponents of the measure argue 4 ounces was too much to take away police enforcement abilities, right? So again, this is just, uh, uh, you know, this is just a type of small trap that Esau is using, you know, against you so-called blacks, Native Americans, so-called, you know, Hispanics, right? So let's see what is.
2 out of every 3 people voting in Dallas this week said yes to this. A proposition effectively decriminalizing having up to 4 ounces of marijuana. It was really exciting to see, but I'm not going to say that I was surprised that it was going to pass. Tristessa Ordex helped Ground Game Texas get the measure on the city ballot. Does this mean that weed is legal in Dallas now? No, it doesn't mean that it's legal. Instead, think of it as deprioritizing marijuana enforcement. Under the new rules, which have not yet taken effect, Dallas police would not be allowed to cite or arrest someone unless they had a lot of weed or were suspected of violent crime.
This is 4 ounces of marijuana.
Now, former police chief Eddie Garcia opposed the measure, saying he thinks preventing enforcement for 4 ounces of pot could help drug dealers.
This isn't exactly personal use, one-time personal use.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has sued other cities, including Denton, to stop them from implementing similar measures. I don't want people to take away from them saying, oh, people just want to go out there and smoke weed. No, this is for the betterment of our community, to make sure that people aren't getting arrested for minor possessions of marijuana. But the propositions passed.
And look at that. You know, she said this is for the betterment of our community, right? So why would you think indulging in this type of drug is going to, you know, help your community? Rather, it's going to destroy your community, right? And I was a long time ago when I was in high school, I think I read a book called The Prince by Machiavelli, and one of the quotes of the book kind of stuck with me. You know, one of the beautiful quotes, it said that, you know, it says a lion, basically paraphrasing, a lion cannot protect themselves from a trap, you know, and the fox cannot defend himself from the wolves. So one must therefore be a fox to recognize the traps and a lion to frighten the wolves, right? So again, this is a trap. This is a snare. You have to be wise, you know, to know that your enemy is trying to use this tool against you. And best believe that Esau is going to use this tool against you, so-called blacks, so-called Native Americans, so-called Hispanics, right? Because he's going to control it. He's going to, even to this point now, he's manipulating it. He's creating synthetic drugs, synthetic marijuana, and use that to destroy you, so-called blacks, so-called Native Americans, and so-called Hispanics, right? So again, without this truth, you will not be able to see the snares and see see your enemy for what he's trying to do, right? Believe you me, Esau is using this as an instrument, just like he uses the food, he uses cigarettes, alcohol, you know, all these things. He uses it to make sure he stays in power, right? But he promotes it in a sense of freedom, in a sense of you having some sense of control in your mundane lives. So again, that's what your enemy is supposed to do. And Bob Shaw, let me get a quick scripture real quick. I don't want to talk too much. So like this is Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. If I can get it real quick. Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness, right? So again, Esau comes in a very humbling and very friendly fashion, right? But in the end, he wants to make sure that he uses this to his advantage. Our enemy is a so-called white man, right? So he allows you to overindulge in your lusts, which will eventually lead to your destruction. Verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Right? Verse 12, set him not by thee, lest when he overthrow thee, he stands up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at thy last remember my words, and be pricked therein. So again, this is causing this wisdom is allowing us to understand how our enemy moves, and how he presents himself, right? So again, it causes for you so-called Jakes, you so-called blacks, Native Americans, and and Hispanics to be aware of your enemy and understand that he's not your friend. He's not doing this so that you can be more comfortable here. He's not doing this so that you can have strengthen your community, as she said. He's doing this so that he can eventually destroy you, and better yet, he wants you to destroy yourself so that he can laugh and smile and said, "I've accomplished my end." Right. So let me go to another scripture real quick. This is Salaki. This is Sirach. Sirach chapter 13, verse 7. Right. I don't know. Is this Sirach 13? A second. Hold on. Salaki. No, I'm still in 12. Salaki. So Sirach chapter 13, verse 7. And really verse 6. It says, and this is, speaking of, a wicked individual, a wicked king. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee and smile upon thee and put thee in hope. And that's what he's doing. That's what Esau is doing right now. He's putting you in hope, but at the same time, his true intentions is to destroy you. He called it what the freedom Dallas Freedom Act, right? There's no freedom in overindulging in these types of drugs, right? And Baba Kashad, real quick, let me just give you some of the side effects of weed, smoking weed, right? Some of the side effects, just look it up real quick. It says what? Memory loss, addiction, anxiety, nausea, and vomiting. In adolescence, brain development issues, changes in perception of time, impaired coordination. When Jake was in the world, I'm sure we partook of that type of recreation, if you will. And we all understand what happened, what the side effects were. It wasn't something that I enjoyed. I did it once, and I was like, man, nah, it wasn't for me. But it says also increased appetite, cancer, paranoia, red eye. All these are side effects of overindulgence in that type of drug, right? And if you truly love your people or love your brethren, why would you allow a person to do that? Why would you're coming in this truth? You can't have that type of thing that that you want to do, because eventually it's going to control you. It will subdue you, right? So going back to that Sirach, right? Chapter 13, verse 7, it says what? And he will shame thee by his meats until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice, and at the last he will laugh thee to scorn afterward. When he seeth thee, he will forsake thee and shake his head at thee. Again, and this devil is going to suck you dry mentally, spiritually, while trying to, at the same time, giving you some sense of hope for a better day, So Esau, he deprives you of the tools to be a decent and moral and a good human being, right? And I was actually going into the history of of marijuana, real quick. Let me pull that up real quick, right? It's just another article here. It says marijuana law in the United States, history of marijuana regulation in the United States, right? So real quick, some quick points. I'm not going to read all of it, but it just says United States relationship with marijuana dates back to the colonial era. American production of hemp, the cannabis plant, was encouraged by the government in the 17th century for the production of rope, sails, and clothing. Domestic production of hemp flourished until after the Civil War, when imports replaced hemp. In the late 19th century, marijuana became a popular ingredient in many medicinal products and was sold openly in pharmacies. So as long as he was able to control it, it was good, right? But listen to this. It says after the Mexican Revolution of 1910, Mexican immigrants, you so-called, not so-called, but Issacharite, flooded into the United States, bringing with them the recreational use of marijuana. The drug became associated with the immigrants, and the fear and in turn prejudice about the newcomers became associated with marijuana. So then, anti-drug campaigners warned against the encroaching marijuana menace. It said during the Great Depression, massive unemployment and increased public resentment and fear of Mexican immigrants escalated. So they put out a big old propaganda against you so-called Mexicans, right? Check out some of these pictures here, right here. It says here the evil Mexican plants that drive you insane. This was the tactics that Esau used during that time to criminalize you. To criminalize Jakes, to criminalize so-called Mexicans, Hispanics. He used that instrument back then to fully show his hand. It says evil Mexican plants. It's too small for me to read. I wish I can read the article, but I can't. But here it says what? Beware, young and old, people in all walks of life. This may be handed you by the friendly stranger. It contains the killer drug marijuana, a powerful narcotic in which lurks murder, insanity, death. So again, this is some of the propaganda that he used to criminalize you so-called Hispanics, right? But today, right, he's your friend, right? Nah, I don't think so, right? So it's just some of these, books that he used to use. He flooded the society with all these types of, false information about marijuana. And again, I don't we in GMS we don't condone the use of marijuana. That is not something that uh, to do, because we love our brethren. We're gonna make sure that our brethren is we look after them, right? But it just lets you know that so-called Esau will use things at his own advantage. He doesn't really love you. He doesn't really want you to exude, a decent, behavior, right? He grooms you for wickedness and then makes fun of you for being wicked, right? So I just wanted to, look at that, the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937. So I just wanted to show you some, some little history behind the criminalization of marijuana and to show where we are today. So going back to that Sirach, chapter 13, verse 7 again, right? It says what? And he will shame thee by his meats until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice, and at last he will laugh thee to scorn afterwards. When he seeth thee, he will forsake thee and shake his head at thee. Right? Again, so we have to be aware of this type of stuff, man. Right? So Esau, again, he grooms you for immorality. He grooms you for immoral and lustful behavior, right? Because he hates you, right? And that shows you, just to prove to you how much he hates you. He you know, you can't hate a person more than to encourage or coerce that person into destroying themselves and then laughing at their destruction, right? So again, this is not Esau promoting any type of freedom or morality. This is Esau being who he is, the destroyer, right? The son of perdition, right? And he's going to use these tools, these instruments, right, to encourage you so-called blacks, you so-called Native Americans, you so-called Hispanics to destroy yourselves, right? So I'm not gonna keep rambling. I hope this lesson was edifying. On that note, I want to give all praises, all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and love to the elders and Akim who push it as truth, and to the hopeful elect who received this message. I hope it was edifying. I want to say Shalom, Kwam Yashawala, and Ababa Ball.